were trying to depart that place. But when we topped that hill, those 3 orange orbs, 2 of them were still in the exact same spot.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Now we got 3 40-foot balls of white light on the riverbank behind us, and something, an orb, which I know what it was one of those beings. Their eyes from a distance looked like a little ball of light. You can't really tell. And so now we're faced with 2 40-foot balls of fire, 300 yards and about 200 feet in the air in front. And the third one is the one that took me. That's the one that appeared above me and shot down. That thing now is sitting in the road, and it's halfway between us and the highway. So it's 100, 150 yards away. And when I went over that hill, I slammed on brakes because of that. It's sitting there. It looks like a football now. It's going white. It changed from red to white, and it's sitting sideways in the road. It's hovering about 5 feet off the ground, and it looks like an egg or a football. About that time, we heard gunshots, and we all heard them, and we thought immediately one of these country boys had pulled out the shotgun, and they're shooting at this thing. So it just pivots, and it starts towards us. It's coming down the road at us, 5 feet off the ground. Then it starts up. But I want to back 1 second. Before we heard the gunshots, there's this mobile home in the back of that field. And there were 2 cars there. And one of the guys with me says, I know who that is. That's Shane. I play softball with him. So let's go to his house. Nobody had a phone. I didn't have a cell phone. I couldn't afford one. Nobody had one. And we just wanted somebody to see this with us, right? So I drove across the ditch, up in this man's yard, pulled my truck right up to his front door. And the storm door's open. I mean, it's closed, but the front door's open. So we could see the TV playing through the door, 2 cars in the yard. And one of the guys gets out, knocks on the door. Nobody answers. And I even blew the horn. My truck's, 6 feet from the front door, headlights blaring in. And I'm looking back through the window, and this thing's sitting in the road behind us, right? Because the mobile home was facing the way out. And we had turned up to the door, and that orb stood, this football was still there, 100, 150 yards. Nobody answers. So I back out, and I pull back out in the road. Now I'm about 40 or 50 yards closer to this thing, because we had to go forward to get to this mobile home. About that time, the 3 gunshots happen. And then it starts, and it comes, and it comes. And when it gets to my truck, I open the sunroof on it, and it crossed over the top of my truck, and it was probably 60 feet up. I could have shot it with a homemade slingshot, and it hit this thing. No sound, just glowing white light that was doing this.
Did it look solid, or did it look kind of translucent?
It looked, once it got that close to us, it looked almost, it was blinding from the light. But at a distance, it looked like an egg. It's hard to tell it was translucent because of the light coming off of the thing. But it was definitely shifted from a red ball of fire to a football or an egg or a tic-tac. And I'll tell you how I got involved with government, because when I reported that thing, I'll tell that in a minute. So here this thing comes over my truck. Right when it got above.
Was it passing through things, or was it moving around things?
It moved up and over a tree in front of me. There was a
Okay, so it wasn't like it was passing through trees or trucks or
although they do that.
It was doing both.
No, this one, it came down the road, and there was one tree between us and it. To the side, it went up and over it. And when it came over the truck, it cleared the trees behind me. There's a solid stand of woods behind me. So it had to have been about 80 feet at the most to clear them trees. And then it turned. It pivoted and shot off to the north. So I hit the gas. And now I'm flying out of there. And these guys there, it's the end of the world. We've been invaded. Where's the military? Where's Fort Bragg? Get me home so I can see my wife before it's over. It was just drastic. Now I'm no longer afraid. I wasn't afraid like they were. They were all terrified. So I'm sitting back kind of numb watching this take place. I wanted to get out of the truck and look at it. They were like having nothing to do with that. So we take off and we start toward dropping these guys off. One of them lived, or two of them lived side by side about 2.5 miles away. The other one lived about 6 miles away, 7 miles. They were fighting who got to go home first so bad that this guy that lived 7 miles away went out. So we had to drive to him, drop him off, and turn around and come back to drop the other two off, right? But on the way, we had orbs, balls of light, tracking us alongside the truck, crossing over in front of us. And one of the most, these kinds of details, I'm going to tell you now, all played a major part in my understanding of what was going on. Because halfway there, between where we were and the home of the first two guys, 2.5 miles, right? Halfway there is a dead man's curve. I mean, it's a sharp curve. It's like if you go through it at 35, you're having a hard time. The car just, you could lose it real easy. In fact, my first wife was killed there in that curve, and I found her.